Hey guys, welcome back. We're going to be talking about preparing for chapter 3. But just to recap, first we covered chapter 1 and we input this data here. We put in birth date, living records about parents, siblings, our high school. We uploaded some photos, so we captured chapter 1. Then we had this intermission where we could play the story to that point. We could share it. We could see our map. We could see our timeline. Then in chapter 2, which we just finished in the last tutorial, you see we captured a little bit of college or trade school or whatever schools that you may have attended after high school. They don't necessarily have to be college or university. Any military service, careers and jobs, and in general, just the profession and industry you served in, even if that's an at-home job or part-time gigs, whatever you wanted to enter there. And there was some data collected for each one of those record cards and some suggested photos. So that's what we did in chapter 1, chapter 2. And you hopefully then we had an intermission, which you saw in the last video. You can again run the story up to this point, the narrated story, all changeable later, remember, and see the map and timeline. So in chapter 3, this is the final bit of data that we collect. It's not a lot, but we handled your birth and your parents, your siblings, your schooling, and then we handled your college and your career, your profession. And so chapter 3, we talk about the most important part of your life, which is the people in your life. So we capture a little bit of and a little bit of data about your spouse or partner. Could be a girlfriend, could be a live-in, or could be a marital spouse. You'll enter his or her name, whether you're married or whether it's a partner or live-in. And of course, you may have several records. You may have been married several times. You may have had several significant life partners, and you can add as many different record cards as you want for spouse and partners. And for each one of those special people in your life, your wedding date and your place of your wedding. So in that record card for your spouse and partners, we suggest wedding photos are great, anniversary photos, especially if it was a silver or a golden anniversary photo. And of course, you can include pictures of your spouse with you and your kids if you have any, or just your favorite. You might have just a favorite photo that you've always carried around of your spouse or your partner that's just near and dear to your heart, and maybe you want to use that one. So that's going to be the first bit of information we're going to collect in chapter 3 is your significant other, your marital spouse and or your partner. Next, we're going to cover your children if you have any. If not, you just skip next. And you were going to capture their name, where they were born, what their birth date was, and who their mother was, because again, you may have parented a child that is from a different mother than the woman you're married to today. So it's going to ask you who the child's mother was. And then the gender, and the gender is used by the narrator to say he and she. Again, you can change the gender in the narration later. So for this record card for each of your children, you'll have a record, one record card for each one of your children if you have one. We suggest uploading a birth photo is great, a current photo. Some people like to run their story showing what their kids look like today. And then of course you can do what they look like when they were born and what they look like today and how much they've changed. And the family photo with you and your child or children. Then you'll move on and you'll do the same thing for grandchildren and even great-grandchildren. So it's the same thing all over again. Record cards for each one, name, birth date, birthplace, who the mother was or is, the gender, and then current or birth photo of your grandchildren or great-grandchildren or family photos, whatever you feel like uploading here. Again, once you see the narration and the story play, once it's generated by your virtual biographer, you can edit it to your heart's content. But this is just good to get a narrated template started for you. The next record card after grandchildren and great-grandchildren are pets. Many of us have pets near and dear to our heart. They're members of our family. I've had many great pets over my life, both dogs and cats. At one time, we even had turtles. So you can create as many record cards as you want for the pets that you've had in your life, or just your current pet if you have one. So we're going to ask for the name of your pet, the type of pet, dog, cat, bird, reptile, whatever it might be, the date you adopted your pet, which might be your pet's birth date if you know the date, or the date that you adopted it from the shelter or from the breeder, and then the place of adoption. Then again, attach some favorite photos to each one of your pet's record cards. And they'll be used in this narration and also for future narrations. Again, we're setting the groundwork here for your virtual biographer to interview on many of these subjects and go very deep on them later. So we're capturing some of this information now, will come in handy later. And then finally, sort of to wrap up the chapter 3 and the summary biography of your life story, we ask you to enter a couple of favorite activities. And so you choose, there's a list, and you just kind of choose them, and you can and then we suggest uploading photos of you participating in those activities: golfing, pickleball, tennis, boating, fishing, whatever whatever your favorite activity are. Dining out is one of my favorites. So some great photos of each practicing each of these 3 of your favorite activities, and then your virtual biographer is going to use this data to sort of recap your story and where you are today and where you're going next. Then you're done. I know it seems like a lot. We've been through 3 chapters. We did chapter 1, chapter 2, and then this final chapter 3. Once you entered it, you'll hit a screen where it says basically you're done and you're ready to edit and publish. Again, at this stage, consider it an animation. You can preview your story all the way up to this point and play it and see how it sounds and what you like and what you don't like and what you might want to be editing. You'll be thinking about it as your narrator is playing your story and narrating your story. You can share it at this point, so you can get feedback from your family, from your friends. Hey, I'm working on my story. What do you think? And get their input on what changes would be nice to make, whether it's photos or adding additional records, whatever it might be. You can view your map of your life map of all places where you've lived and worked and went to school and where you were born and where your grandkids were born. It's great to see these pins on a map and have records of them. And then your timeline, which is a sequential timeline from the day you were born all the way up to today, and you can view all of the various records in your timeline. So that is what we're doing in chapter 3. Get prepared to enter this data and to go get some of these photos ahead of time so that when you enter the application, boom, 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 you'll be able to just upload them. So join me next, and I will show you how to enter this data and how to create chapter 3. Bye for now.